You will only ever heal once you are willing to sit down with yourself and stop trying to suppress anything. You will only ever heal if you are willing to let go of control, so that all the demons that have been suppressed can now finally surface. You will only ever heal if you allow these demons to do whatever they want to do. And I know a lot of people don't like to hear this message, because for centuries we have been conditioned by religious people that shadows, negative feelings, negative thoughts, and demons and all that stuff should be avoided at all cost, should be rebuked in the name of Jesus. But it doesn't work like that. You can hug a demon and it will transform into an angel. And I'm not talking about literal demons, of course. I hope you understand that. I'm talking about the suppressed shadows. For example, you have been hurt in the past. And instead of processing that thing, you simply chose to jump right into a new experience, a new phase in life. And you can do that, and all of us have done it, but it will catch up at some point. You will feel slower and slower and heavier until you don't feel like you don't have the power anymore to continue living. You don't have the power anymore to do anything, and then you will say, I'm depressed, or I have a burnout. You will have a reason. You will just notice that somehow you don't have the power anymore to experience new experiences, to continue with life, because you are so heavy now, because all these shadows are just weighing on you. The only way to heal for you, for everyone, is to sit down and be willing to allow these shadows to surface. You will have a lot of negative thoughts. You will have a lot of negative energies and emotions. But that's a good thing, because now you can see them. There is a belief that when you feel negativity, or when you have a negative thought, this is not okay, I will manifest negativity and stuff like that. But no, it's not like that. Once you are aware of the shadow, once you are aware of the negativity, then that light of awareness can transform it just by noticing it. You don't have to transform it yourself with your own hands. You simply notice it. You see, it's like you're a container. You could say your mind or your psyche is like a container. And you cannot just suppress all these negative things and then consciously choose to have positive thoughts, because the negative stuff, the trauma, is still there, lurking in the dark. And when things are being shaken in life, then it will all surface anyway. But then it's too late. You won't be able to handle the situation. So consciously choose to sit down with yourself. For example, right now, when I'm alone, I don't feel any loneliness at all anymore. But I know how bad loneliness can feel. And loneliness is just a symptom of not having become conscious of your demons, of your shadows, of your problems. I'm not talking about external problems. I'm talking about psychological, spiritual problems. It works like this. You sit down and you don't do anything. Because and in the beginning it can feel very difficult to not do anything. The trick is you don't have to stop doing. You simply notice your true self and notice that who you really are cannot do anything because it's pure consciousness. It's just observing. So even the sense of, but I'm doing something, I cannot stop myself from doing something, is also just an appearance happening inside of consciousness. That's what you have to realize. Once you know that you're pure consciousness, you will also see that even though it feels like, but I'm doing something, I'm still somehow trying to suppress something, then you have to see, you don't have to stop that movement, you just have to see that you are not doing it. So it's also just an appearance that is allowed in consciousness. And you also don't have to consciously allow it. It is allowed because it's happening in consciousness. It's already allowed. You don't do anything. Already, as you're watching this video and as your mind is forming certain judgments about this video, you're not doing that. It's just happening by itself. You have to find the place in you that is always still. And then you will know how to simply be, even though there is a whole storm happening inside of you. Then you simply allow that storm to happen. You sit down, you feel all the suppressed aspects in you, you feel the loneliness, you feel the hurt, you feel the depression, you feel all that stuff, allow it to surface. The more you do that, you will see somehow magically, this is the part that I cannot explain because it happens like magic. Maybe there is something going on in the brain, maybe it's really a spiritual thing, but it will transform into peace. Somehow the memory of what happened will still be there, of course, but the energy behind it will just not be deleted or destroyed. It will be transformed. So the energy is still there, but it now has a new form. Before it was negativity and heaviness, but now it transforms into joy and happiness and lightness. That's the process of healing. And then you will become a lighter and lighter and lighter and lighter expression of consciousness. That's why meditation is healing. Feel it to heal it. It's what I've heard a lot of times, but I didn't really understand what they mean. It's really important for you to not suppress any thoughts, to not suppress any emotion. So that it can be transformed by the light of consciousness. For some people, it can be very hard to do so, which is why it's sometimes considered a good practice to just stay aware of the present moment and not to be interested in what's going on in the mind. It can stabilize you and your nervous system, and it makes you present and also makes you concentrated on what's actually happening. But you cannot do this for too long because it still takes effort. Real meditation takes absolutely no effort. Real meditation is just a relaxation. But the reason why most people cannot relax is because as soon as they relax, they are being confronted with what they have suppressed. Most children don't have any problem with relaxation because they don't have to face anything. They don't have shadows, or at least they don't have a lot of shadows, which is why they are able to relax. They sit down somewhere and they're just, it's all right. Well, I don't know how it is with today's kids. I think they need iPads, so they cannot just relax. But I don't know if those iPad kids have also do have kind of shadows, which is why they're so addicted to iPads. But anyway, normal children, they don't have any problem with relaxation because they don't have these shadows. But when a grown adult tries to just relax and sit down somewhere, it's like they're sitting down and the mind goes on. Then they remember some problem, they remember some hurt from the past. Then they're becoming anxious of what could happen in the future. Then they become restless, take out their phone and call someone just to, because they're too afraid to face themselves. And what I'm saying is face yourself. You don't have to solve yourself. You don't have to take initiative to do something about what's happening inside of yourself. I'm saying that when you have the courage to face your demons, simply allow the light of awareness to shine onto it, and it will transform. It takes courage because it doesn't feel good. But it also doesn't feel good to constantly run away from yourself. Most people are constantly running away from themselves. They cannot face their own internal problems, which is why when they have a problem with someone else, a conflict, they cannot solve the conflict with that person because they're not used to staying in the conflict. You see? So, real meditation is a relaxation. It takes absolutely no effort. You just fall. Just fall. But on the way, you will meet all that you have suppressed. Allow it to surface. And when you have real angry thoughts or sad thoughts or whatever, allow them to happen. Cry. Shake. Whatever. And that's the alchemical process. You see? Some pain bubbles that are going to come up. You'll feel a tension, and then it will become more concentrated, and then all of a sudden, through a sigh or a yawn, the pain bubble will just surface, or you will cry. It can become very intense. Just take care. Make sure that you're stabilizing yourself with presence. But after some time, when you're becoming light inside, you don't have to be present anymore with it. Conscious attention or focus onto the present moment. You can just relax, and that will already be the presence. You see? So I hope that helps. By the way, if any of you have questions, please write them in the comments, and see you. Have a great day.